Not only that, that mother put no keep a bacterial infection. Niggas don't wash their nuts consistently for you to let everybody raw dog you. And that go be a little funky.
I hate her. Yeah, that's she's delivering a whore spirit amongst young girls.
That broad that's running around bragging about getting raw dog, that little old ain't nothing but a cum bucket. I said, no, she a disgusting little old mother.
No. Sexyy Red looked like the type of girls like back in the days, like you walk in the room and you'd be like, smell like somebody was f***ing in here.
Every time y'all see me with a nigga, y'all think I'm f***ing. Like, can I just chill? Can I hang out? God, I'm a grown-ass gangster superhero. Leave me alone.
And what's crazy is I seen a video, I seen a video where she said her own was taken.
And when you gonna keep it gangster? When you gonna keep it gangster? Bitch, that's what you did. You lied to me for 6 months.
But I said to myself, she looked like it get hot. It looked like it get funky in whatever room she f***ing in. It get hot.
The opening should hit fast, dramatic, and messy. No rambling. Right away, we need the audience thinking, wait, what? Charleston White's comments are shocking enough. So the key is framing them like breaking scandal with stakes. Example style. Charleston White just detonated a bomb in hip-hop, calling Sexyy Red a walking infection and backing it up with what looks like her STD medical report. He didn't stop there. He dropped the names of rappers he claims got caught up too. And trust me, these aren't random nobodies. These are A-list rappers, the kind of names that make the entire timeline freeze. What started as trash talk instantly turned into a chain reaction of finger-pointing, speculation, and receipts flying left and right. Charleston White isn't known for holding his tongue, but this time he lit the internet on fire with comments so raw and vicious they had even his usual critics stunned. He didn't just clown Sexyy Red for her raunchy lyrics. He straight up called her a walking infection and a contaminated woman, accusing her of spreading a so-called host spirit among young girls. The words were brutal, but what sent the drama into overdrive was what he dropped next: paperwork. Out of nowhere, Charleston pulled out what looked like Sexyy Red's actual STD medical report, holding it up as proof that his insults weren't just talk. And with one swipe of the timeline, receipts like that turned a personal attack into a full-blown scandal. Within minutes, the internet was in chaos. Fans were zooming in on screenshots, debating whether the document was real, and connecting every name Sexyy Red has ever been linked to. Suddenly, it wasn't just Charleston throwing shade. It was social media detectives digging up old club sightings, photos with rappers, messy baby daddy drama, and tying all of it back to this so-called leak. That's why the story exploded so fast. Charleston didn't just drag Sexyy Red. He dropped a bomb that made everyone else in her orbit look suspicious too. And when he started hinting at the big-name rappers allegedly exposed in the process, the gossip machine went into overdrive. Because this wasn't just a diss anymore. It was the start of a chain reaction that had the entire hip-hop world holding its breath. The moment Charleston White hinted that rappers were caught up in this mess, the internet went into full-blown detective mode. He didn't just leave it at Sexyy Red. He started dropping names, and the first one to get dragged into the storm was none other than Gucci Third Leg. Now this is where things get wild. Gucci already had a reputation hanging over him after a former fling accused him of knowingly giving her herpes. That allegation alone had people whispering for months, but when Charleston connected Sexyy Red's alleged STD report to Gucci, the timeline erupted. Suddenly, it wasn't just gossip, it looked like a pattern. What made the claims hit even harder was Gucci's own reckless bragging. He once boasted about sleeping with more than 3,000 women, and even admitted to linking up with adult content creators. When you line that history up with Charleston's allegations, people didn't just roll their eyes, they started piecing the story together like a conspiracy board. Memes popped up overnight of Gucci's body count, charted out like a viral outbreak, with Sexyy Red right in the middle of it all. One fan even wrote, "If Charleston ain't lying, Gucci Third Leg is patient zero." The internet had jokes, But the undertone was dead serious. If this chain was real, thousands of partners could be connected to one man, and by extension, anyone Sexyy Red was linked to. That's why Gucci's name hit like a grenade. His past accusations weren't ancient rumors. They were already fresh enough that people believed them. Combine that with his wild public image and Charleston's so-called receipts, and suddenly social media detectives were connecting dots that no one wanted to admit out loud. It wasn't just about Sexyy Red anymore. It was about who else might be tangled up in this alleged web. And Gucci, third leg, was just the beginning. If Gucci, third leg, was enough to send social media spiraling, the next names Charleston White threw into the mix turned the whole scandal nuclear. Because this time, he wasn't talking about underground rappers or random hookups. He dragged in the heavy hitters, the ones whose names alone guarantee headlines. And at the very top of that list, Drake. Now, everybody remembers the cozy moments between Drizzy and Sexyy Red. They weren't just seen together once. There were multiple receipts. Fans pulled up the club footage where Drake had his arm wrapped around her, leaning in close, even planting a kiss on her cheek while cameras flashed. He captioned one picture, "Just met my rightful wife, Sexyy Red," and she doubled down, reposting it with the line, "I'm your favorite rapper's rapper." At the time, people laughed it off as Drake being playful. But after Charleston dropped that alleged STD report, the joke stopped. Suddenly, that little cheek kiss, those club nights, the late-night link-ups, they all looked different. The question hanging in the air wasn't did they mess around? It was if they did, what does that mean now? And just when fans were still processing Drake's name, Charleston doubled down with another bomb. Chief Keef. Sexyy Red herself has admitted that she and Keef were more than friends, even teasing that he might end up her third baby daddy. She's been open about how genuine their connection is, sitting on the phone with him for hours, hanging out like they've known each other for years. She even went as far as to say, "That's my peoples. That's my dog. We like each other." So when Charleston White tied Keef's name into the same chain of alleged exposure, the internet didn't hesitate to connect the dots. Fans instantly resurfaced her playful digs at King Von's sister, Kayla B., where she joked about Keef being her man. With Charleston's receipts looming, what once felt like harmless flirting suddenly looked like potential proof. But the wildest twist came with a name nobody could pin down. Out of nowhere, Sexyy Red had posted a picture of herself laid up in bed with a mystery man, only showing his feet. The detail that set fans off? He was wearing an ankle monitor, hinting he was on house arrest. In her caption, she didn't hold back, writing, "I like F****ing with drillers, redhead killers." Asterisk at the time, the post was just another one of Sexyy Red's chaotic flexes. But once Charleston White dropped her alleged medical report, that nameless foot in the frame took on a whole new meaning. Social media detectives were zooming in on the ankle brace, comparing sneakers, and trading theories on which rapper she could have been hiding in plain sight. Whoever he was, fans were convinced he might be another link in the chain Charleston was exposing. That's why this stage of the drama hit so hard. These weren't just messy side characters anymore. This was Drake, this was Chief Keef, this was a mystery man who could be anyone in the industry. Each name Charleston threw out didn't just stir gossip, it raised the stakes. Because if the receipts were real, the ripple effect wasn't just wild, it was dangerous. And the internet wasn't about to let it go. Just when fans thought the drama had maxed out with Drake and Chief Keef, the plot twisted again. Because out of nowhere, the scandal started sucking in outsiders. Names that didn't even make sense at first, but their involvement only added fuel to the fire. These were the wild cards, the figures who turned the controversy from shocking to downright surreal. The first one to jump in was streamer Aiden Ross. In the middle of Charleston White's accusations and the internet frenzy, Aiden decided to insert himself with one of the strangest confessions imaginable. During a live stream, he casually claimed that he had hooked up with Sexyy Red too. His words weren't even slick. He said it like he was bragging, as if this whole STD chaos was some kind of clout chase for him. Instantly, clips of his confession went viral, with fans clowning him for desperately trying to make himself part of the conversation. But Sexyy Red wasn't having it. She clapped back directly, laughing him off and calling him a straight-up liar. She said Aiden was just thirsty for attention and tried to piggyback off her name. Still, the fact that his confession dropped in the middle of Charleston's receipts made people wonder if maybe he knew more than he was letting on, or if he was just another cloud-chasing pawn. Then came Ray J, and this one was even messier. On a flight, cameras caught him claiming that he had been with Sexyy Red too. It was casual, almost like a throwaway flex, but the way he said it made people believe he was serious. Sexyy Red, of course, shot that rumor down immediately, denying any involvement and brushing Ray J off as just another man trying to drag her name for headlines. But if you know Ray J's history, you know he has a knack for putting himself in the center of scandals that spiral way beyond him. And when the footage hit the timeline, fans weren't buying her denial so easily. They started asking, why would he say that out loud on a plane if there wasn't at least some truth to it? And then came Huncho. Out of all the wildcard names, this one had the strongest receipts. Sexyy Red had already been spotted with Huncho multiple times, and rumors were swirling about the two having a low-key romance. Paparazzi photos of them together, little moments on social media where they looked more than just friends, and whispers that they were hooking up behind the scenes had already been floating around. So when Charleston White's alleged STD leak hit, those Huncho rumors blew up even bigger. Fans started threading pictures, DMs, and even lyrics where Sexyy Red hinted at a secret love life. The speculation wasn't just gossip. It felt like there might actually be something there. And in this scandal, every something turned into a smoking gun. That's why this section of the fallout was so dangerous for Sexyy Red. Drake and Chief Keef were already bad enough, but when outsiders like Aiden Ross, Ray J, and Huncho got pulled in, it made the scandal feel endless. The more names people added to the list, the harder it became for Sexyy Red to deny or dodge any of it. It wasn't just one leak anymore. It was an avalanche of rumors, confessions, denials, and viral theories, all feeding the same fire. And with every new wild card, fans were left asking, if this many people are connected, how deep does this web really go? Just when it seemed like Charleston White's claims couldn't get any messier, the spotlight swerved back to Sexyy Red's own baby daddy. Because before Charleston even said a word, her ex had already stirred the pot with accusations of his own. He went live flashing what he claimed was paperwork, hinting that Sexyy Red wasn't telling the full truth about her health status. The clip spread like wildfire, with fans zooming in on every blurred-out line, every scribble, trying to figure out if the receipts were real. But here's where it got confusing. Almost as soon as the accusations caught fire, her ex started backtracking. Suddenly, he was downplaying what he showed, saying people were twisting his words, acting like it wasn't that deep. For some fans, that was enough to dismiss him as bitter and messy, trying to chase clout off her name. But once Charleston White came through with his own so-called receipts, the game changed. His version seemed more polished, more intentional, and way harder to ignore. The fact that his paperwork echoed the same whispers her ex tried to put out months earlier, that's what made people pause. And that pause is all it took for the speculation to reignite. Overnight, TikTok detectives were pulling side-by-sides of the baby daddy's paperwork and Charleston screenshots, asking if they were connected. Some even accused him of being Charleston's hidden source, saying he had the most to gain by tarnishing her image. Others argued he only looked guilty because the timeline loves drama. Either way, his back and forth meant nothing now. Charleston's receipts had given new life to his old claims, and fans weren't letting it slide this time. This was no longer just about ex-drama. It was about whether Sexyy Red's entire circle was hiding something, and that's why the baby daddy fallout hit the internet like a second explosion. Now here's where things get even trickier for Sexyy Red, because fans didn't just take Charleston White's word for it. They started digging up her own words, the things she's admitted publicly, and suddenly the narrative got a whole lot harder for her to shake. For starters, Sexyy Red has never shied away from being raw about her sex life. She's talked openly about catching chlamydia in the past, even turning that embarrassing moment into a wild story that her fans repeated like an inside joke. She's also joked about naming her lip gloss after sexual slang, and even hinted at making her brand out of being too real about the things most rappers would hide. That's part of why her fan base loves her, but it's also why Charleston's so-called medical receipts hit differently. When you got an artist who already admitted to past STIs and even turned those struggles into part of her image, fans start to think, well, maybe Charleston isn't pulling this out of nowhere. And that's exactly what happened. People went back to old clips, resurfacing interviews where she laughed about infections, and compared them side by side with Charleston's paperwork. It was like the internet was building a case against her with her own history as evidence. For some, that made her look authentic, like she's just too unfiltered to lie. But for others, it made Charleston's accusations feel a little too believable. And that tension is what kept her name trending nonstop. And then came the outsiders, the voices who weren't directly involved but had a lot to say. Lord Jamar, never one to hold back on messy cultural commentary, jumped in to clown her. He didn't even need receipts. He just used Charleston's story as ammo, calling her a product of a broken hip-hop culture that celebrates being reckless. His comments weren't subtle either. He laughed about how rap done fell off when your hottest female MC is naming lip gloss after STDs. And that clip alone sent fans into a frenzy. This kind of outside commentary reinforced Charleston's narrative without him lifting another finger. It wasn't just him versus Sexyy Red anymore. It was Charleston plus a chorus of other personalities piling on, shaping the narrative into something bigger than gossip. Each voice that joined in made her look more cornered, more exposed, and more like the scandal wasn't going away anytime soon.